still write my notes in there. I think that's fine. So you can copy them like later. Okay, so I'm going to go get my notes. I think I have them. You are in your table of contents, and we're going to go ahead and start writing down Unit 8. Okay. Unit 8, and then cups and chips. And my page is 38. You can put your page number. Wendy silently writing. Sophia silently writing. Cups and chips. And we are going to start off with our orange paper. So on your orange paper, I wrote down the steps that we came up with the previous 2 days. And then we're going to come up with new steps because we have a different types of problems today that we're going to look at. So again, I'm going to title this Cups and Chips. Now when I glue it, right, so I have my handwriting here, your blank part is going to be down, and we are going to write on it. Okay, so you can go ahead and just glue it in. Let me give you about 1 minute. And then during this time, I'm going to come by and pass out your classwork. It's the staple classwork for today. Make sure not to be wasteful of your glue. Question. Yes. Okay, go away. Thank you for letting me know. Can you give him a glue? There's glue on my desk. Okay. This is that one.
¿Qué haces eso? No quieres hacer eso. No quieres hacer eso. Solo tengo uno.
Here you go. Where are you trying to be not going to hand out? Yes. Yep. With the blank part in, because we're going to write some new notes. And then actually, you're going to leave it open, just so we can refresh our memory from yesterday. About 15 more seconds, and I want you to grab one marker. Okay, your voices are up in 3, and then you're not going to be playing around with the markers. You're just going to hold 1 but surely. 2, pick it up. 1 and 0. Now I should hear no more noise. I see Tavi on silent. I see 100% at table number 3 ready. Okay, so now this is to refresh our memory. This is from yesterday and what you saw in your entrance ticket. The first thing that we deal with are chips. Everybody say chips. Chips. So let's go ahead and underline that with your marker. Then after we deal with chips, we deal with what? Cups. So subtract the cups. Then at the end, you're always going to divide. Okay, so I just wanted to throw that out there so that you can refer back to these a little bit later. Now, for today, if you look at your handout, we're not going to get started on it right away. We get something like this. Now, there's something very different here, right? Now, we have some chips that are shaded in. We're going to be dealing with negatives today. Can everybody say negatives? Negatives. So every single day in this unit, we are adding something, right? The first day, it was just positive cups and chips. The next day, we dealt with decimals. Now we're dealing with negatives, okay? So to get you started, or not started, to kind of give you a preview, I want you to go back to this blank paper. So now we're not using markers anymore. You can put the markers away. I should hear no more. 5, 4, we're done in 3, 2, 1, and 0. Catherine silent, Jamia silent. Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and draw some symbols that you're gonna see today. I have just a regular chip, that is an open circle, and I'm going to write down positive. And then when you see one that is shaded in, let's go ahead and shade it in, this is going to be a negative. See Anthony taking notes? Okay, another thing that eventually you're going to see today are our cups. So we've been dealing with regular cups that are right side up. I'm going to go ahead and write down positive cup. And then think about the variable, my variable. Everybody, what letter, what variable were we using for cups? X. Good, so I'm going to put an X. Then when the cup is upside down, that's going to be a negative. A negative cup, which is going to be negative X. And then we're going to write one more thing before we get started. Okay, so the last thing that I'm going to preview with you before we get started are something called zero pairs. So if I have a little positive chip, like if I have 1, somebody raise your hand for 5 cap points. Who can let us know what can I put next to it to make it equal to 0? 1 plus what is going to give me 0? 1 plus what? Good, I see a lot of hands. 1 plus what, Jared? Yeah, negative 1. So here, what we're going to start doing here is every time we see a positive and a negative, we're going to cross it out. And this is called a zero pair. Can everybody say zero pair?
Zero pair.
Zero pair, excellent. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and log in Jared's calf points. Okay, and then when you're done, go ahead and just go to your handout. You're going to leave this open because eventually we're going to write some steps. But I want you to look at this here. So this is going to be very different, still the same steps. We're dealing with the chips, then the cups, and then we're dividing. So chips, cups, and dividing. I have those steps written for you on the board over here. Before we get started also, reminders about Saturday school. Saturday school, you got your permission slips for today. It is due tomorrow. I'll give it to your homeroom teacher. And I just sent, or I'm going to send 7th grade a notification home after school, like a message. Your parents are going to receive a message, so make sure to give that to them. Okay, here. Go ahead and tell your neighbor, what side should I take away first? Like if I'm looking at the chips, should I take away 2 chips from each side or 6 chips? Go ahead and tell your neighbor real quick. 5, 4.
Because you can say 6, because not all of them are 2.
1 and 0. Should I take away 6 from each side or 2 from each side, class? 2. Good. Now, the reason why is that our goal is to find out how many chips are in 1 cup, right? I have Zet tracking, I have Antoinette tracking. And so I want to have all my chips on one side and all my cups on the other side. If I took this away and I put this here, all my cups and chips would be right here, and I don't want that, okay? I want them to be separate. Now, for 10 cap points, who thinks that they can tell the class this is new information, thinking about the notes that I just gave you right now? How can I take these away? Because if I can't take away 2 and take away 2, because that's taking away 2 positive. There are no 2 positive here. I can't go 2 and 2. I'm taking away 2 positive and a 2 negative here. That doesn't work. There's something different. I can't just take them away. What can I do to get rid of these 2? What can I do to get rid of these 2, Ariel?
Make 0 pairs.
What do you say?
Make 0 pairs.
Make 0 pair. What do you mean by that?
Put a negative and a positive chips together.
Okay, a negative and a positive chip together. So how many negatives am I going to need here?
2.
2. Or we say 0 pair.
0 pair.
0 pair. So if we draw 2 little negatives, go ahead and draw them. Well, now I have plus 2 and minus 2. Class, what's 2 minus 2?
4.
2 minus 2? 0, right? That's a 0 pair. This goes away. So that went away. I'm going to go ahead and start logging in his cap point. So we just drew 2. So this is a little bit different, right? We're adding negatives. Okay, and I gave him his 10 cap points. Great. Now, remember, the point of this balance is that I want them to be equal. Class, whatever I do to the left, I have to do to the right. So I'm also going to write down negative and negative. And you know what I forgot to do? I forgot to write down your equation. Let's go back. So we have 2x and we started off with 2 positives, and we had -6. This should have been done in the beginning. Sorry about that. Okay, so the first step that we did was that we added -2 chips on each side. So added -2 chips on each side. Okay, I'm going to come by and make sure that you have amazing notes. See Adrian writing. And then if you're done, I want you to be thinking about our next step. So we put 2 chips on the left and 2 chips on the right, or -2 chips on the left and the right. So now, this stuff here went away. I have my cups on one side and my chips on the other. Tell your neighbor, what do you think I'm going to do next? How do I find out how many chips are in one cup? You can look at your steps in your notes. 10 seconds. 10. I heard it. 9, 2, 7. If you already got the steps, tell your neighbor what you think the answer is. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And your voice is off. Somebody at table number 2. Table number 2. What do you think the next step is? Divide. Everybody say divide. Divide. Now look over here. Look very closely. I have -8 chips, and I'm going to split these up into 2, right? And I'm doing this very carefully on purpose. What am I putting in? -8 divided by 2. Think about it. -8 divided by 2. Everybody, what is it?
-4.
Good. It's -4. Because look what I'm putting inside the cup. These are negative chips. We're not doing 8 divided by 2. It's -8 divided by 2. So let's go ahead and write that down. So then we divided, I'm sorry, I should say divided -8 chips into 2 cups, which gives me -4. I divided, sorry about that typo, divided -8 chips into 2 cups. So now I'm going to guide you through the next one. So remember, the same thing. Chips, cups, and divide. Chips, cups, and divide. Let's start looking at the next one here. I want you to discuss in your group. What do you think is the first step? Remember, I want cups on one side and chips on one side. Go ahead and discuss. What's my first thing I'm going to do?
First, you have to wait back.
Three, 2, 1. Okay, so now everybody, do I deal with the cups or the chips first? Chips. Okay. Now, do you think I'm going to take away these 18 chips or the 6 chips? The 18 or the 6? 6, right? Because if I take these away, then bam, I only have my cups here and my chips here. That's exactly what I want. But now, for 5 cap points, how do I take these away? I'm not just going to, like, using the same principle from over here. How do I want you to be using 0 pairs. So what do I do? Only 3 people know. Here I had 2 positives, so I put 2 negatives. What am I going to do here if I have -6 and I want to get rid of them? I want to get rid of them with a 0 pair. What am I going to do, Jamia? Okay, 6 positives where? Okay, on the side with the cups. Okay, good. So before we get started on that, let's go ahead and count our x's. I have 6x, and this is -6. This is going to be 18. Sorry about that. Okay, so the opposite of -6. Class, what's the opposite of -6? Positive 6. So we're going to get rid of these. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Anthony, did you write this down? And then Jamia, what do we do? Is that all we do?
No.
What do we do next?
Then you cross out because this is 0 pair now, so you have to cross it out.
Okay, this is a 0 pair, so we're going to cross it out and...
You look at it.
So I added 6 chips on the left.
You do 6 chips on the right.
Yep, you do 6 chips on the right. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I'm going to come by and make sure I see beautiful circles on your paper. Adding 6 chips on both sides. Table number 8. Do I have any 0 pairs on this side? Do I see any 0 pairs? Anything that I can cross out? Yeah, this table, sorry. That was my fault. That was table 6. Yeah.
Yes.
Yes. How many 0 pairs?
3. I mean 6.
Yeah, so 1, 2, 3, that's 1, 2, 3. Yep, so it's 6. So cross out this whole row. Now, so I'm gonna go ahead and actually like completely cross this out. So that was our first step. Jamia told us to add 6 chips to both sides. Now, I have negative 12 chips and 6 cups. Negative 12 chips and 6 cups. What's that? Oh, sorry. Oh. Okay, so now go ahead and finish this off in your groups completely with the strategy. How many chips are in 1 cup? I want you to show it here, write down number 2, and give me your answer. I'm going to give you 2 minutes. 2 minutes to finish this off as I check in with every table.
It's gonna be a
So we're not
Is it
writing
gonna
down
be a
again? Nope.
Is it gonna be a
It is not going to do that. So we want to divide this by 6. How many of these are going to go into each? Good job, Leo. And are they going to be negative? Yes. Right. Oh, okay. So you're not playing around. Is it? 1 minute left. Yeah, this table looks good. This table looks good. Looks like we're finishing 25 seconds early. Do we have it? Yes. Okay, so now I'm going to go ahead and stop the time. Voices are out in 3, 2, 1, and 0. Everybody, how many chips are in 1 cup? -2. Good. So you can look at it 2 different ways. Waiting. See Lizette silent. I have Christian silent. Okay. So I'm using this visual. I saw some of y'all actually like put these here, which is great. I have the -2 here. Or if you just think -12 divided by 6 also gives me -2. Can I have somebody read their statement here? Can I have somebody read? Internet.
I multiplied 2 times 6
For what?
to get the answer.
So just keep reading. Nobody else should be commenting. Christian, face forward.
What I did was to see and like what number would give me. What number would give me 18. So what I and so I added 2 in each cup.
Okay, so what number would give you 18? But we don't have 18 anymore. We had only 12.
Yeah. You know, 2 times 2 times
Oh, okay, so 2 times 6. So you did it backwards. What's the opposite of multiplication? Division. So I would just divide. Antoinette, what would I divide here? How many chips are left?
12.
I would divide 12 by how many cups are there, Antoinette? Good. I will divide 12 by 6. Good. Okay, now let's go to the next page. You are going to do 3, 4, and 5 in your groups. I want to see equations, your strategy, and your answer. Equation, strategy, and answer. I'm going to give y'all 5 minutes. Your 5 minutes starts now. Yep. Ariel, have you gone this week? Okay, Deborah, can you put Ariel in line, please? Antoinette, can you come sit over here in the front, please? Okay, so what's my first step here?
Cross out. No. Subtract yourself.
Okay, so we're gonna subtract our chips, right? So what chips can we take away from both sides? I see 3 right here, and I see 29. So actually, let's back up. Go ahead and write down your equation. How many x's do you see?
1, 2, 3.
Yep, so write down 3x plus or minus.
Minus 3
Minus 3 equals,
equals 29.
yes. Okay, now we're trying to get rid of these 3, right? What's the opposite of negative 3?
Positive, we put 1, 2, 3.
Good.
That?
Yes, and then whatever I do to the right, I have to do to the left. Or excuse me, whatever I do to the left, I have to do to the right.
4, 5, 6. So take 6 away.
Well, how many did we add right there? 3. So you're also gonna add 3 right here. Good job, Sophia's table. Uh-huh. So now, are there any 0 pairs on this side?
No.
No, good. So you're only gonna cross these out. So that was already step 1. You're almost done. What's your next step?
Subtract cups.
Yeah. Do we have cups on both sides? No, so we're gonna skip that one. Yeah. And then what's my next step? What's the last step?
Divide the
Yes.
many cups in each.
Yep, you're gonna divide.
Divided by.
This one is gonna give you a fraction, y'all. It is gonna give you a fraction. You have 3 minutes left. How many are there in total? So don't erase anything. How many are there in total? Yes. Okay, so now let's so your first step, subtract your son this side. You want the chips, right? So here.
I understand. So you divide 3.
No.
You got 0. And then we did that last.
Somebody else is in line.
And then
No, Joe, you're too busy worrying about going to the bathroom rather than getting smarter. Come on, focus on the work. Okay, so I write 3 and right here. Good. Okay, so now there's a 0 pair, right? I don't cross it out. Cross them out. Because 0 and 0 pairs. You have to say, I can't cross these out. Step 2 is to subtract cups. Can I take
pero no va a ser más.
Step 3 is to do what? So Anthony, focus.
How do we do?
So just follow those same 3 steps, Adeline. The same 3 that were yep. Try your best to follow the rules. What are you doing? Keep working. What's that?
6.
Okay, so wait, we messed up with our division here. 3 goes into 3 one time, 3 goes into 0, 10, and 2/3. The 10. Okay, so now here, which ones are we going to get rid of?
The cup.
Oh, wait, but before the cup.
And then you add 3, 6 positive.
Yes, good job. 6 and 6.
And then
Antoinette, can you turn it off, please?
something 0. And then you add 6 more. 3, 4, 5, 6.
Okay, so that was time. Let's go ahead and pause real quick. Your voices are up in 3, 2, 1. and 0. For number 3, waiting. So, Jocelyn, can you pass that to her, please? Can you be a kind person and pass her the sheet of paper that dropped? Because she was very nice to me right now, and she just turned off the timer for me when she didn't have to. Thank you so much, Jocelyn. Okay, so now this is a fraction. This table right here, they got it. What did y'all get for number 3?
10 and 2/3.
Good, 10 and 2/3. Raise your hand if your table got 10 and 2/3. 10 and 2/3. Okay, so I need your eyes up here, please. So the first thing, in case you were stuck, I was mainly on 2 tables right now. Class, what is the opposite of negative 3 chips? 3 chips. 3 chips, right? Positive 3. And then class, whatever I do to the left, I have to do to the right. 1, 2, 3. These are 0 pairs. See, Louise is silent. These are 0 pairs, so they go away. Now I divide my 32 by the 3 cups, which gives me 10 and 2/3. Okay, you are going to continue. Do number 4 and 5. Do number 4 and 5. Because I don't think everybody finished. Go ahead and continue to work. Yes. Yes, can I see your work? Somebody call one of those, Brian. Yes. We're not going to this. 3, 4, and 5?
Oh, so is it 8?
Yes.
But how are we going to divide?
You did right here. Why she got it wrong?
No, he told me.
Okay, so write down the answer, write down your strategy, and move on.
3 minutes.
Good concentration, Fabian. Please go away. Are we done? No. Okay. That was first step, right? Yes. And then on the other side as well. Now,
Wait, I am confused.
my next step is
Oh, wait, never mind.
2 minutes. 2 minutes.
Miss, I don't know what the heck.
So why are we talking about that? You have a blank paper. That's not funny. Basically, that's what I gave you a long time ago.
Miss, like this?
So far so good. That was step number 1. Step number 2 is to do what? How many cups can you take away? You're doing great, Brian. And then, good. Now you're in step 3. Great job. What's the opposite negative?
Negative 2. Mine also different. Yo creo que he visto todas las que te voy a dar el uso de yo creo que ya no sé.
Okay. 25 more seconds. Almost. Negative shifts.
It's a negative. Miss, you're gonna do 3 real quick, right?
These don't go away. This is 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, positive. The reason why these go away is because they have negatives. So what's 16 divided by 2? Thank you, Antoinette. How many what? What's the opposite of negative 6? Okay, so class, at this time, if you can hear my voice, clap one time. Thank you. Okay, so number 3 we did right, which we spoke about earlier, is 10 2/3. The next one, what did you get for number 4? 8. Good. The next one here. So in case some of you got a little bit confused, look up here. I'm going to show you. The opposite of 3 is negative 3. I do the same thing over here. Is the Antoinette silent? This goes away. I cannot cross any of these out because there are no 0 pairs. Then I deal with my cups. So I have negative 15 chips need to go into 3 cups. If I put these in here, these little chips that I'm putting in each of these cups, are they going to be negative or positive, class? Negative. So it's a negative 5. Or you can just think to yourself, what is negative 15 divided by 3 cups? Okay, so now before the bell, I want us to write down our steps right here. So let's go ahead and just write down what we were doing. It's almost the same thing. This does not require talking, you're just going to your notebook. See Wendy silent, I have Adrian silent. No talking, no whispering. Okay, so the first thing, I'm going to start calling on students. The first thing that we always deal with, Ruby, is what? The chips or the cups? The chips. Okay, so let's go ahead and just write down again. Step number 1, I'm going to write down chips. Okay, so I'm going to explain it like this. We locate chips we want to get rid of. And add the opposite on both sides. So I'm going to abbreviate. And add opposite on both sides. Then I'm going to stop writing to give you time to catch up. So chips. I locate the chips we want to get rid of, and I add the opposite on both sides. So whenever you're stuck, you're thinking to yourself, opposite chips. When you're done, go ahead and write down step number 2. Yes. Opposite on both sides. Chips. Locate chips we want to get rid of and add opposite on both sides. Then after the chips, Leo, what do we deal with next?
Subtract the cups.
Yeah, we're going to be subtracting the cups. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and write down the cups. Yes. Okay, so it's going to be the same thing. Add opposite cups on both sides. And then my last step is always to divide. Divide chips into cups. So I divide, so chips, cups, and divide. Chips, cups, and divide. That's always what you're doing. But when we're dealing with negative, all you're doing is adding the opposite needed. When you're done, go ahead and put your notes to the side so I see that you're ready. Yes. Huh? Yes. Sorry, I'm gonna move this again. Okay, then when you're ready, go to number 6 so I can see that you're ready to move on. We're starting in 3, 2, 1, excuse me, and 0. Okay, so let's see if we can do part of this before the bell. This is a little bit different. I want cups on one side and chips on the other. Do we have that right now, class?
Nope.
No, because we have them all over the place. Now, this is different because I have a lot of chips. And there's you can do this multiple ways. What chips, just somebody raise your hand, what chips do y'all want to get rid of? Do you want to get rid of all of these or just these 5? Which ones would you get rid of, Stephanie?
All the positive.
All the positive ones. Okay, Stephanie, how do I get rid of these positive 5?
You gotta put negative 5.
Yep, -5. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we're adding -5 on both sides. Whatever I do to the right, I'm going to do to the left. And I'm going to put these right underneath so you can see my groups easily. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I added my 5 negatives. Do we have any 0 pairs, Tavian? Do I have any 0 pairs? Yes, on the left side or on the right side? Do we have negative and positives here? These are negatives and these are also negatives. Good, so here, how many positives do I have? Good, and I have 5 negatives. So let's cross this out. This is a 0 pair. Everybody say 0 pairs.
0
0 pairs, it's 5 and -5. Now, for 5 cap points, what do I do next? This is different, but same principle. This is what we just wrote down in your notebook. So I have my chips on one side. I want my cups on one side. What do I do? In other words, how do I get rid of some of these cups? Luisa. Okay, I add a positive cup to the left side because the opposite of negative cup is a positive cup. And then class, whatever I do to the left, I have to do to the right. Good. Antoinette, do I have anything that I can cross out here?
Yes.
Antoinette, what?
The positive and the negative.
The positive and the negative what? Cup. Good. Good job. I'm going to give both of them cap points. And then I have -20 divided by +4 cups, which is going to give me negative, right? So -20 divided by +4 is -5, because there are -5 chips. I went a little bit in a hurry because the bell's about to ring.
No, let me see how the water. Oh no, it's going to attack the super. I
Usually halfway. Some bigger ass. Bye.
No.
Oh my god, we need to talk about strength grade and
Yeah, Brandon, be careful. Okay, so class, if you can hear my voice, clap once. If you can hear my voice, clap one time. Thank you. Okay, so as you can see, it's just adding that negative cup, or she's dealing with the negative cup, and we do the opposite, which is the positive. I want you to do 7 and 8 the same way. Warning, these aren't decimals, but some of them are going to be confusing because you're going to have to bounce around to decide what side do I take away the cups and the chips, or like which cups and which chips. I'm going to go ahead and put 5 minutes on the clock. Do 7 and 8. You may work in groups. Okay, so step number 1, I deal with the chips. 1, 2, 3. Okay, 30. Good. Do I have any 0 pairs? Yes. Okay, now step number 1. Step number 2, get rid of cups. I want cups on one side and chips on the other. Wait a second. Okay, now before you get started, Adrian, you're worried about the wrong thing. Direction is not the priority. Benjamin, this is the morning. Anthony, this is the morning. Take Virginia.
So when it's negative, do I have to still take 12?
You can. What cup do y'all want in with them? I want the chips on the side. I want to get rid of that one. What is the option? Good. Okay. I'm confused because I'm left with all. So ice went away. So I have to divided by
Wait, let me ask her if it's the same thing because I should let number I want to get raised. Wait, I didn't even do work. So I don't know if y'all can do one copy. Maybe I should do work. No, I'm not.
So,
was being confused first. I took care of it so well. I played so well.
Cuando no tiene papel así, nosotros lo podemos mandar ahí en la It's Spanish. You're gonna get it. Ella como se mosca, yo estuve a aislarla y con la de Laila. But we're just friends. We know each other since a long time. I would not. I'd rather keep it. No. Big 100 big best. Brian, stop. I know she's me too. Well, I don't know if she was born. Technically, yeah. But I was no, he didn't know me when I was born. I knew him when he was You were not there when I just came out. You didn't tell my mom. Wait, did Ariel go? You didn't saw my monthly day like that. I woke him up. You didn't saw that. I was on the window. No, I didn't. I was not. I had a little bit here. You were definitely up over here. It was a he was talking. You had a little bit of hair. So he saw when I came out and I was naked. Yeah. I'm not like. I'm watching. My mom was turning. Oh yeah. When you were look, you were like this. There's a roll body like this and let you go. That's all you're here. Brian, I'm older than you. Oh no. I'm gonna be 14.
Okay, your voice, yes, question. Huh? I can't see it. It's 12. I'll get on the board real quick. But I think it's 4. Okay, so let's go ahead and come back together. Voices are up in 3, 2, and 1. I see Benjamin silent. Jamia silent. Okay, so the thing that's tricky about this is that when you have cups and chips on both sides, there are different ways to solve the problem. Okay, like Sophia and I both got the same answer, but different ways. And that's why some of you are getting a little bit tricked. So here, I'm gonna get rid of these positive. You could technically also just get rid of these. I wanna deal with a smaller number. Put that down, Leo. Thank you. So 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Raise your hand if you did that step. If you dealt with a 3. Okay, Adeline, make sense so far? Yes. So this is a 0. These are 0 pairs. So now, since I want chips on one side and cups on the other, I have my chips here. I want to get rid of this one. I can't just cross this one out. Adeline, what's the opposite of a positive cup? What's the opposite of a positive cup? Yeah, a negative cup. Good. So then a negative cup. So then I have negative 12 divided by negative 3 is a positive 4. Over here, 1, 2, 3. Oh, I'm hearing talking. So the opposite is 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Then I can get rid of these 2 cups since they're both negative. Negative 24 divided by negative 2 cups is a positive 12.
Can I see?
That positive 12. Sorry, I did that fast. Because we added the negative 9 on both sides. So these went away. And now I got rid of these 2 cups. You could have also done this, like positive cup, positive cup, positive cup, positive cup. It's the same thing. Okay, now we're almost done with this part. And then we are going to do some basic skills practice. Go on to this page. This is the same type of thing. So Leo, no. So Anthony, come over here. This is the same type of concept. However, it just looks a little bit differently. So I have the negative cups. I know they're negative because they have this little minus sign. I'm seeing some people laughing. And then I have negative chips, and I know that because there's a negative. Okay, so I'm going to do number 9 with y'all, and then you're going to work on the rest independently this time. Then I'm going to give you some more independent practice. So let's look at number 9. I can get rid of a negative cup on both sides. I can also, Leo, get rid of what on both sides?
Chip.
Yeah, 1 chip, right? 1 and 1. And this is pretty simple. I just have 1 little cup is equal to how many chips, class? 3. Good. 1 cup is equal to 3. Go ahead and do the next few on your own. 10, 11. This one's a little bit of a challenge, but I know y'all can all do it. And then here, you can work on this as well. Working on the next 4, you're doing this independently.